is that? Yee! We getting it, boy.
What's good? You know who it is. It's your boy, Jay in the Bay.
Your baller back again. Smells like football season.
Yo!
Yeah.
Whoa! Yeah, here we go. Hey, what up, YouTube, man? Welcome to Straight Out of the Bay. Y'all know what time it is. It's Monday. It's not a victory, but it kind of is for this wild card weekend for the San Francisco 49ers. Man, what a playoff. What a way to start the playoffs. What up, my man E? What up, my man Jay? How you guys feeling today? I'll start with you, Jay. How you feeling, my man?
What's good to everybody in the chat? Man, it is a victory Monday. I know the Niners didn't play, but those sorry-ass Rams lost. The Cowboys lost. I mean, it's a victory Monday for 49er fans all over the Bay and all over the world. Always a pleasure to be with you, gents. How you doing, E?
Hey, I'm feeling good. What a weekend. Playoff football just makes for one of the best weekends when you got the Saturday and the Sunday games, and then you got a bonus 2 games on Monday. Just a great playoff weekend.
Absolutely, real talk. Hey, what up to everybody in the chat, man? Man, I'm just excited, man. I was telling you guys backstage, that was one of the most enjoyable wild card weekends I've had. Typically if the 49ers are in it, I'm tense, I'm stressed, even if I'm confident, I'm just in game mode. And this wild card weekend, I was able to fully enjoy it. Watching the Cowboys watching the Cowboys melt and get beat down, the only team in the playoffs to lose at home. I don't, like Debo said to Micah, I don't know what we were supposed to be trusting, because it could have been worse, but they couldn't even make it to us. I know I'm kind of being funny, but hey, I'm being a fan about it, and that's how I really feel. And then to watch the Eagles, after we faced them, they went 1-5. It was maybe one of the biggest collapses in NFL history. The tush push couldn't even work tonight. I mean, just every which direction you look, whether it's the Rams, Eagles, the Seahawks couldn't even get in there. So it's just, I loved every bit of it. CJ Stroud, Jordan Love, just all of it. The whole vibe, the cold weather games. I loved every piece. We're gonna hop straight into tonight's Monday night game, the Eagles versus the Bucks. And we could go around the table. My big takeaway was part of what I just said was just the collapse of the Eagles. It's kind of amazing. And I lightweight just right now for the first time. I feel a little bad, but I mean, cry Eagles cry. I mean, Reddick was over there talking about, line that shit up and come back into the link. It feels like anytime anyone has spoke on Debo, he's saying we was doing all that boo-hooing and crying last year. Those are Reddick's words. And anytime anybody has mentioned 49ers and crying, it hasn't ended well for him. It seems like it's bad business to talk on the Niners in any kind of way because we seen Micah. It started with Patrick Peterson, and we seen what Brock and Ayuk did, and they just exited the playoffs, didn't have the season they wanted to. They're in there with Rudolph, the red nose. And then, we got, Micah talking about trust and believe when we see y'all again, and that didn't end well. And then the Eagles, line that S up. And so, I mean, it's been glorious. Big props to Baker Mayfield. He gets a lot of crap, but hey, man, he was throwing back shoulder throws tonight, looking confident. The past few weeks, he's kind of resurrected his NFL career. Vita Vey, just watching the tush push not work. That was awesome. I seen one because we talked a little while back on how to stop that tush push. And I think you have to have a Vita Vey. And then on top of it, I seen dude dive over the top, but as soon as he got on top of the pile, he slid off. got his foundation and was able to rip Hurts back. So hopefully we just, we're not going to see it from them anymore, but hopefully that's the end of the tush push being just a every game thing, because it was just I didn't like it, but hey, it worked. What's up, my man Amin the Dream? How you doing, my man, on this Victory Monday? What's up, bro?
I mean, today was a good day. I mean, this whole weekend was a good weekend. First, you got the Cowboys gone. You got the Rams gone. You got the Eagles gone. Like, and the Niners didn't have to play a game. Like, the Niners didn't have to play a game.
I just had to play it for you, man. Just like keep going, gone.
It feels great. Like, it feels great. It feels great. You know, like Jimmy G always says, it feels great, baby. So, I mean, except for the Lions, this Niners road to the Super Bowl this year just got a little easier.
No doubt, real talk. Hey, we're going to talk about the Bucks. Just hey, we'll go around the table, and hey, I'm going to get into the chats too, so y'all don't worry. Y'all let me let us know what y'all think about the Eagles and the Bucks game. Every other game, what was the highlight for y'all in the games? In the description, everybody's link is in the description. If you're sub to me, go sub to my bros. Real talk, much love. So we're gonna start, with the Eagles and Bucks, man. I gave my little rundown of what I thought. Your guy Mike Evans, Amin, he continues to show that fountain of youth and 10 straight years with a G. So that's kind of cool to see that stuff. The Bucks running game, if the Bucks can keep on running, like, man, that's been something they have not had. I don't know how much they had tonight, but I know they were effective in doing it. So that was kind of like, hey, man, the Bucks ain't going to just be a pushover if they could run the ball. But we'll go around the table. I'll start with Jay, and then we could go to Amin and Baller. What was your guys' takeaways of the Eagles and Bucks game?
Hey, what's good to everyone in the chat? Happy MLK Day today as well. Hopefully everyone had a great time. Hopefully everyone was able to take some time off from work to spend with their family. But the Bucks and Eagles, man, how the mighty have fallen. I mean, the Eagles won the Super Bowl. They start off the season 10-1 this year, and then they just free fall. It's so crazy. The NFL it's kind of like Madden. You could be on a 10-game winning streak of Madden. All of a sudden, you lose a few games. You lose your confidence, and that's what happened to the Eagles. They just weren't confident. When was the last time they had a tush push that didn't actually convert a first down or a touchdown? I mean, that was indicative of how their season has gone. You start off hot and you lose to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Like that's crazy to me. But it like you said, Keltz, Baker played well. I thought the Buccaneers defense played pretty well. I actually took Philly to win. I thought they would somehow get their act together, get that mojo back, whatever they had lost, but clearly that didn't happen. But the Niners obviously didn't play, but it was fun to see the Cowboys lose. It was definitely fun to see the Rams lose. And I wouldn't call myself a hater, but when squads come at your team, it's funny when they don't take care of their business. And that's what happened to the Eagles, the Cowboys, and the Rams. So there were a few blowouts, obviously, but all in all, I thought it was a pretty good, wild card weekend. And like E said in the beginning, man, there's nothing like playoff football, man.
Yeah, with this game, it was apparent that the Eagles are missing those coordinators that got snatched up this past offseason. Shane Steichen went to Indianapolis. The offense just has not looked good, especially since playing the Niners. And then the Eagles are missing A.J. Brown. That's their best player. I mean, let's be honest. A.J. Brown is it. And now I'm looking at this Jalen Hurts deal, which he signed about a year ago. It ain't looking so hot, man. Eagles are going to be paying Jalen Hurts a lot of money, and that hasn't even fully kicked in yet. So, yeah, keep your tabs on that one. But the Bucks, hey, kudos to them. Todd Bowles, I got a lot of respect for Todd Bowles. He's a really good defensive mind. He was sending the heat at Jalen Hurts for most of that game, and Hurts just did not have the answers. So it's going to be interesting. Bucks, Lions. I think the Lions are the better team. But the Bucks, the way they're playing with with the weapons they got, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Cade Otton was really good tonight. Bucks could make a game of it.
Oh, my bad. Nah, yeah. What was your take on the game tonight? Me.
All I gotta say is I've never been so happy to be wrong before. I remember our game picks last week. I was like, the Eagles, they gonna come out and win it, even though they've been struggling. I said that about the Cowboys also, but I was wrong. And so, like, I've never been so happy to be wrong in my life. The Eagles, like Bay said, I mean, with the coordinators, they obviously lost their two coordinators, Shane Steichen and Jonathan Gannon. I think the Eagles are like ranked 32nd in like running motion in their offense. Like their offense is just like you look at the league's top offenses. The Rams are one of them. Miami's one of them. Niners are one of them. One thing that they run a lot of is motion, pre-snap motion, and the Eagles just don't do that. This Eagles team, if you really look at this Eagles team, you can't really say there's one position group that has been better this year than they were last year. Like when you look at the coaching staff, when you look at Jalen Hurts quarterback play, offensive line play, defense, the cornerbacks, like there isn't. You can't even say there's like even one position group that's been better. Even maybe you could even say one player that's been better this year for the Eagles than they were last year. Coordinators definitely hurt them. Looking into next week matchup with the Lions and the Bucks. I know it's like a little bit of a next week thing, but
No, that's good. We should probably talk about matchups like that too.
One thing, Jared Goff not last week. I mean, against the Rams, he was 0 for 5 when they did bring pressure. When the Rams did bring pressure, he was 0 for 5. And what does Todd Bowles like to do a lot? He likes to blitz the quarterback. He likes to get after the quarterback. So next week game, as much as the Lions are the better team, and I do think they will probably end up winning it, I think it's a quarterback battle. Whichever quarterback makes the better decisions, is safer with the football. But it's not going to be a cakewalk for Detroit. Todd Bowles loves to blitz, and Jared Goff, he gets sometimes a little bit frantic under pressure. So, I mean, it's not going to be a cakewalk. It's definitely not going to be a cakewalk for the Lions team.
Hey, real quick, if you're the Eagles, I think Swift. I thought he had a pretty topsy-turvy season. Sometimes he had pretty good games. Other times he wasn't involved in the offense. And tonight he wasn't involved in the offense. I think they only had like 2 or 3 carries the first like 16 snaps. Like it's just, how do you expect to win the game without your best wide receiver and you don't want to incorporate the running game? Like it just didn't make sense. I know Buccaneers are pretty good at stopping the run. I think they're a top 5 team, but you at least have to present that threat. You can't just be completely one-dimensional. Then Bowles is sending the blitz when he knows you're passing. So I just thought bad decision making by their offensive coordinator.
No play action, no RPOs, and when they did run play action, when they did do things like that, like you saw that big pass that Devontae Smith in like the first half, where they got into scoring range and they did put up their first points when they did run some play action and things like that. But I don't know why you wouldn't consistently stick with that. And then even Nick Sirianni, like if you're the coach and you see that and your OC isn't doing what he's supposed to be doing, like you go over there and be like, dude, like you got to figure this out, or give him something, give him something. But like, I feel like there was no adjustments even made at halftime because it was almost like the same thing, like literally the same thing.
And the Eagles love running those RPOs, but it can be risky because if you pull it and hold on to it, your offensive linemen don't know that. They got flagged multiple times today, Cam Jurgens, for getting downfield, being an ineligible man downfield.
I mean, look, CMC was on the Manning cast a little while back, and he was just over there calling exactly what the Eagles were going to do, and he's not even a defensive player. I mean, it's pretty, it's just like, hello, like, it reminds me of Herm Edwards. You play to win the game, I'm sure Jay in the Bay would have tried to switch some things up. Amin the Dream would have tried to try. You got to try, right? Like, you can't just... If you're in the wild card round and you're sputtering, hey man, what do you got to lose? Take a shot, man. That's always been my motto. You're gonna miss the shots you don't take. So it is what it is. Cry equals cry.
And listen, Eagles fans, I better not be hearing nothing on your Twitter timeline. Nothing. I don't want to hear no AJ Brown was injured. No this, no that. Like nothing. Like y'all straight up took an L. Y'all had 10 wins and y'all finished with 11 and got bounced in the first round. No excuses. I don't want to hear it.
Nothing. You too, Jim Everett the Great. You too. You heard what Amin said. I say it for him. God, with the tape, with the man. Hey, Jim Everett the Great. I love you, my man. But how many times have you used the tape? Oh, he always says 94 Niners with the tape and Santa Clara. Those are his 3 favorite words. 94, the tape, and Santa Clara. It's an obsession. Hey, but you know what? We all got to be obsessed with something, I guess. But Jim Everett, man, I almost want to pull up some Jim Everett stats because I'm pretty sure his quarterback rating was like 75 for his career. But someone check that out for me. But we're gonna hop to the Browns and Texans game. What a freaking game by CJ Stroud. Amazing. You know, it's reminiscent of what Brock Purdy did last year. You know, I almost want to lump him and Jordan Love into the same convo, but I was wrong on this game. I was just looking at the Browns defense and didn't think that they would be able to, you know, step up to the challenge that way. I was completely wrong on this game, and I was rooting for the Texans. I was rooting for D'Amico and, you know, CJ Stroud. I think it was the first time I ever heard it where I guess, you know, I don't know a lot about CJ Stroud, but I guess he was really, really low on one of the scoring things for like intelligence. Do you know what that's called?
The S2 test.
Yeah, the S2, because
no one knows exactly what's formulated in it, but yeah, supposedly CJ Stroud, and that stuff isn't even supposed to get leaked. It's supposed to be confidential, information, but
somehow really high in it.
Yes,
and man, look, man, y'all got to come up with some new criteria, NFL or whoever makes these things up, because there's a thing called NFL intelligence, and it's not just knowing how to read a playbook, but when the bullets are live, when you're in the heat of battle, how does your brain think when you're really going through the fire? You know, that's the only way you could really test it. How the heck did I just get a thumb? Freaking, how did that pop out? Who pulled that one on me? That was cool. But anyways, the NFL just came through and straight put a thumb down on me. I know I got a new laptop, but anyways, NFL, step your game up. Because, you know, I heard that someone joking on a show was like, well, shoot, if that's the criteria, I guess we need to look for the guys who are the stupidest guys, because look at CJ Stroud out here straight balling. You know what I'm saying? So props to him. D'Amico, I mean, I could go on and on, but I'm sure you guys will do it for me. Hats off. Well done. It feels like everything that we wanted to see with Trey Lance is kind of happening in Houston. That's just the way I kind of see it a little bit. It's cool. Yeah, Joe Flacco flamed out. I'm kind of glad it happened. We get to see some youngsters get some experience. We got hella good games coming up. We'll start with Baller and go around up to me and Jay.
You know, I picked this one right. I called the Texans. Joe Flacco is who I thought he was going to be. You know, early on in that first quarter, that first half, it looked like it was going to be a high-scoring game, back and forth. We're getting lead changes. And then Joe Flacco turned into a pumpkin and started throwing pick sixes. Meanwhile, CJ Stroud looks freaking awesome. And one thing I noticed, man, Stroud, he's got such a nice arc on his ball. Usually when you talk arc, you're talking basketball, but he's got a great touch. So CJ Stroud, awesome. And then Nico Collins, man. Nico Collins has to be one of the biggest breakout performers this year. I know Jay was trying to offer me multiple trades for him in the fantasy league. He was trying to get him from me, but I couldn't quite let Nico Collins go, and for good reasons, because he was really good. Devin Singletary's produced a really good year running the rock. And on the flip side, they absolutely shut down the run of the Browns. So that was it, man. Shout out to D'Amico. Shout out CJ Stroud and Nico Collins.
Two things were going on in my head when watching this game. One was, damn, CJ Stroud is just like that guy. Like everybody's talking about, obviously, that test that you were talking about, Keltz. But like the Texans got their guy. And CJ Stroud going into next season is going to be in the top five best quarterback conversation going into next year. And the second thing that was going on through my mind was, damn, Bobby Slowick, like you saw what Kyle Shanahan did against Jim Schwartz, And then you saw what Bobby Slowick did against Jim Schwartz. And I'm like, damn, like, is it CJ Stroud? Is it Bobby Slowick? Is it both? Like, he was making Jim Schwartz and that defense look like dumb out there yesterday. They were doing their thing yesterday. But CJ Stroud, phenomenal. Happy for D'Amico Ryans. Yeah, I mean, I picked this one right also. I think me and Baller went with the Texans on this one. But yep, CJ Stroud is definitely that guy.
Well, unfortunately, I picked this game wrong. I took Cleveland Browns to win. Unfortunately, Joe Flacco turned into Joe Fluco. I mean, he started off good, but we know as Niner fans, when you start throwing picks and it's pick sixes, it makes it even harder to win that game. So, but I mean, shout out to Flacco. I mean, he was sitting on the couch. He was begging for teams just to give him a try to be a camp arm, let alone start NFL games. And he got his opportunity. And hey, he was part of the reason the Browns went to the playoffs. So, you know, hats off to them, even though they got a first round exit. But obviously, I think we were all, the Niner community, were rooting for D'Amico, you know, hoping he does well. And I think they said this was the first time in like 50 years where you had a rookie coach and a rookie quarterback go to, I think it might be win their first playoff game. It might be. So that's incredible stuff. And D'Amico was drafted by the Texans. Now he's head coach of the Texans. So that's pretty cool too. But when you look at this Texans roster, they have a ton of just young talent, kind of like the Packers. And a lot of these guys, I mean, if you're not playing fantasy, you probably don't even know any of these guys. Like who had heard about Nico Collins before this year? Damian Pierce, Tank Dell, even I mean, of course, we've heard of Devin Singletary, but he was left for dead by the Buffalo Bills. I mean, they didn't want to re-sign him, and you know, he's obviously had a resurgence of a year, and that Texans team is just on fire right now. So that's going to be a hell of a game going up against the Baltimore Ravens. But yeah, happy for D'Amico, absolutely.
Real talk. Hey, you could kick us right into the Chiefs and Fins if you want to, my man Jay.
Absolutely, yeah. So, man, the Chiefs and Fins. I don't know if you guys have been watching Hard Knocks, but I have been. It's an intriguing show. Mike McDaniel's kind of a interesting guy, but hey, man, the Dolphins have dealt with a lot of injuries the back half of the season, especially you look at their edge rushers. Bradley Chubb, I think Van Ginkel got hurt. Also, there's another outside edge rusher, number 15. His name is escaping me, but they had a lot of season-ending injuries, and that definitely hurt them in this game. All the Fins had to do, Week 18, all you got to do is beat Buffalo, and you play the Chiefs in South Beach, but you drop that game, and now you have to go play in minus 23 wind chill degrees, and obviously we know you know, that's not what the Fins do well. They want to play in 70-degree weather, and the Chiefs took care of business. I think I said it during last week's show that the Chiefs defense is pretty good. Like, I know I would say when Tyreek Hill was with the Chiefs, it was the Chiefs offense that kind of led, you know, the team. They got all the headlines, but now the Chiefs offense isn't that good. They can still make plays here or there, but this Chiefs defense is pretty good. Obviously Chris Jones is still there, still making plays in the middle. But you know, Chiefs took care of business. I don't know how you guys feel, but Tua may not be the answer in South Beach. I'm sure you guys want to tackle that, but I mean, hey, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens, but I think I took the Chiefs to win. I think so. How
Hey, do you want to comment on this comment, Jay?
Sure. Let's see. I heard you were in a commercial. That might have been on the local news channel. Yeah, KTVU Fox. I think it was last year though. I think it was last year. Yeah.
Bombs on us right now. They dropped in and like.
No, it was a quick. It was like.
Look at Jay, the undercover superstar in the pulling his Batman.
It was like a quick 3-second. Like, I think I have my mask on, and then I think I say "What's good" or something like that. It was like a clip of 49er fans before the season. I think it was last year. I think.
Hell yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it was pretty dope.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Hey man, the Chiefs. Yeah, Kudo, what's up with it? What's up, everybody in the chat? We see Bobby, Don, good evening, Don, RM, Sean. We see all y'all, Jimmy 49ers, even you, Jim Everett, the mid. We got love for you too, my man. It's all fun and games unless you're the Niners. And yeah. But anyways, where was I at? Man, the Finns and the Chiefs, man. My first thought before even knowing the weather report, it was like a whole week before, knowing what the weather was going to be. I already knew it's Kansas City. It's going to be cold. I didn't know it was going to be that cold. But so I'm just envisioning anytime the Dolphins face anything that's not like 75 degrees and the Broncos, you know what I'm saying? It feels like whenever it's a tough game, it just feels like they fold, man. It feels like that's who they've been all year long when it comes to facing anyone above 500. So as soon as I thought about Kansas City, Pat Mahomes, cold weather, it just felt like it was a wrap before it ever even started. Rashid Rice, I swooped him up in fantasy early in the season because I kept going through each receiver of Kansas City. There was one week where I had Scantley early on. One week, I started off with Sky Moore because I knew one guy was going to come up. I knew one of them had to, and luckily enough, soon as I think Rice get one TD early on, I was like, that's going to be the guy that's going to continue to grow. And look what he did in the playoffs, along with Pacheco and just, God, I don't like Kansas City like that, but I do like Pacheco. I do like, especially watching young rookies like a CJ Stroud, and Jordan Love feels like a rookie. But when you see these young guys step up and not just get stats, but just look kind of like veterans, look like they belong and they're there. Like, it's just cool to see that growth. So, I would have loved to see Kansas City lose. My prediction was for the Dolphins to go to the Super Bowl. I was wanting the storyline more than the logic of the Finns actually making it. But, it is what it is. Props to KC. That's going to be a straight up showdown. The first time KC will go on, or the first time Mahomes will go on the road, they'll be going to Buffalo, but that's going to be, get your popcorn ready for that one. That should be, one of the main ones right there. So, is what it is over there. Mean or Baller, how'd you feel about this KC and Dolphin game?
I mean, the Hawaiian was struggling in the snow, fellas. It was apparent. Tua, he did not look good. That offense just didn't look good. And then defensively, like Jay said, man, they lost a bunch of really good players. Bradley Chubb, Jalen Phillips, Xavier Howard. Like it was pretty predictable what was going to happen looking at the forecast, looking how the teams have been playing as of late. So this game kind of went par for the course, but I'm really looking forward to that Chiefs Bills matchup next week. That's going to be a fun one.
Absolutely.
Tua's not it. Like I'm just gonna. I was tweeting about it like all over Twitter. Like Tua's like reminds me of Jimmy Garoppolo and Mike McDaniel's. Tua is what Kyle Shanahan had in Jimmy. Tua's just not good. Like some of the games, like for example that Buffalo game, like the defense forced 3 picks, and then for you to not score a single point in the second half, and for you to lose that game, like as much as you want to talk about McDaniel's, but if you have that much talent on your team with like a Tyreek Hill, a Waddle, or whatnot, even if Tyreek or a Waddle didn't play, one of those guys did, right? And then if you look at their backups, like a Robbie Anderson, a Chase Claypool, like still serviceable guys, yeah, you still weren't even able to put up a field goal in that game. The Ravens game, they got blown out, but like the collapse that they had in that second half of the season, I didn't expect Tua to play well in this game, but even with the injuries on their defense, Tua's just not that guy. Like, he's just not that guy. And the funny thing is, he was a Pro Bowler this year. I don't think he should have been a Pro Bowler this year. Like, if I'm the Dolphins, I'm Mike McDaniel, I'm Chris Greer, just move on. Like, even if you're not moving on this year, even if you want to play out his 5th-year option, you're definitely not bringing him back to a long-term contract because you can't win a Super Bowl. I will repeat, in the AFC, there's no way Tua Tagovailoa and that Miami team is going to be able to beat a Chargers team with a potential Jim Harbaugh, or a Chiefs team, or a Ravens team.
The Chargers?
Yes, Jim Harbaugh.
Where are the Chargers
Go
at?
Chargers,
what has Justin
go.
Herbert done?
Go
I think you're giving
Chargers.
Tua. I think you're giving Tua a little too much.
Jim Harbaugh interviewed.
I like Tua.
Position.
I like Tua. I think you're giving Tua too much flack.
No,
he's been orchestrating that offense.
He's not
I
good.
mean, the team led the NFL in yards. Like I don't know if they finished that, but through week 16, they had put up the most yards in the NFL.
Yards don't equal points, my friend. Yards don't equal points.
Okay.
At least watching the Dolphins games the past couple of weeks, those yards didn't.
Tua was in the top 5 of the MVP race, like through week 14.
Well, they got to reconsider who they voted for MVP.
Dak was too.
I was about to say, so was Dak.
He did not deserve. He did not deserve.
Tua's pretty good, man. He needs weapons around him. But
you can't tell me that he is.
Here, I want to say this. I just want to cut in, and I want to cut in and say this real quick. I think,
respectfully, Baller, I know you like Zach Wilson. You like Johnny Manziel, and now you know what you're talking about. Tua Tagovailoa being a good quarterback.
Okay, he can't play in negative 50s from Hawaii. He's not. He didn't ever played in the snow growing up as a kid.
More than 14 points, Baller. Like, come on.
Hey, I would say real quick. Tua's good, but he's like the Dak Prescott of the AFC. He can't. I don't think the Fins beat any team over 500 this year. I don't think
they beat the only team that they beat was Dallas, and 16 points came from Jason Sanders.
That don't count. Dallas don't count.
Like
he just hasn't beaten. He just hasn't had success in the playoffs yet. But I think he's good. Can he take you over the top? That remains to be seen.
He doesn't. That team cannot beat any good team, and he doesn't elevate. It's like they have to make, even that touchdown pass. That touchdown pass that Tyreek was underthrown. It was like a Jimmy pass. It was underthrown. Tyreek made the play, and yes, does Tua have his good moments? Sure, but so does Dak Prescott. And if you look at Tua, and the funny thing is, like when Tua does have those like 3 touchdown performances, it'll come against like a garbage team like the Jets, who are inconsistent every week. And yes, you could say they have a good defense, but like he'll put up good performances against the Jets. But anytime they play a good team over 500, their defense isn't bad. Like their defense, let's forget about the Chiefs game. That Bills game, the week 17 matchup against the Bills, your offense has to do something. You are in Miami. Even the Titans game, y'all were up by 14 and y'all blew it with like 2 minutes left to go. Like, I'm sorry. That's just like, yes, you could put some of it on the defense. I think McDaniel's a good coach. You give Daniels a good head coach. Like, let me put it like this. If Brock Purdy was on this Dolphins team, I'm not saying they would have beaten KC, but they would have probably wouldn't even have to play KC because they would have probably won that Bills game, and they would have probably won that division if they had a Brock Purdy at center. But because Tua's literally the Dak Prescott of the AFC, and he doesn't elevate, he literally folds under pressure, that team had to go to KC, and he ended up sucking.
Yeah, man, it's hard. It's hard.
Offense, precision offense, playing in negative 20. It was a terrible matchup. Which is
I'm not talking about that.
Anyone with a functioning brain.
Forget about that game. If you want to take that aside, put that Bills game in the conversation. That Bills game was in Miami. There's no weather issues there. Like, he still didn't perform well. Name me one. Even that Cowboys game, the one game you could say that they beat a team over 500. 16 points came from Jason Sanders, and Tua scored 1 touchdown.
I don't know what you were watching. The Dolphins' offense was freaking awesome for 80% of this year. So,
well, it's not awesome against good teams, is it? And that's what matters.
Fair.
Well, my feelings towards someone like Tua, I could see it both ways. To be honest, I think the Dolphins are kind of content, even if they know that someone like Tua might not be the guy to take them over the hump. And it's hard in the NFL. I mean, if we want to get really real, we haven't been able to get it done since, 94, all jokes aside, we're right there with Dallas. That's just reality. We're not we're still in it this year, but if we wanted to get really real, I mean, hey, it's hard to win. It's hard to, there's only 3 or 4 quarterbacks that are current NFL quarterbacks right now that have won a Super Bowl. I know Tom Brady kind of, took a lot of those opportunities away from other guys, but it's hard to win a Super Bowl at the same time. I don't believe in Tua, like regardless of what the stats say. I like the dude. I think he's good for the Dolphins. I think he's good for I think he's good for business. I think he's an amazing person. All those things. If I'm starting a franchise, he's not a guy that I'm just like targeting. I think maybe that's what Amin is kind of, trying to point out. And we'll see. We'll see the more time goes on when these guys get more opportunities. But we're gonna
real quick. Lastly on this game,
two is a good debate, huh?
Lastly on this game though, I'm gonna move off the Tua topic. Did y'all see what Charles Omenihu said after the game? He gave like a little shot at the Niners, and he was like, "I came to the Chiefs because I was tired of making NFC Championship games. I've been there before, and I'm trying to win a Super Bowl. That's why I came here. I'm not gonna lie to you, like I wouldn't mind playing the Ravens in the Super Bowl, but if we meet the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, like that after that Charles Omenihu comment, obviously blowing the lead in the Super Bowl." Like I really do. I don't mind playing either one of those teams, like the Chiefs or the Ravens, getting revenge on one of those two teams.
Hey, you know what happens? You know what happens when folks talk on the Niners? I think wasn't it Queen? I think someone from the Ravens.
It was Marlon Humphrey. He was like, I don't respect none of those guys on that team.
Yeah, it was but hey, man, we're gonna
that night.
Hey, I did not know that about Omenihu, but we're gonna fast forward to the damn boys and the Packers. I mean, my God, I love all the pettiness and all of it, the broken TVs, the Stephen A. Smiths, the Skip Baylesses. I love all that stuff when it comes to the Dallas Cowboys. Just, from my childhood, man, that was the nemesis. That was the rival. That was that team. I know it slowly turned into Brett Favre and the Packers, but, there's always, like George Kittle said, F Dallas. It's always been that way. As for me and my family as a Niner fan, it's always been that way. And to watch Jordan Love do what he did, I think wasn't it CJ Stroud and Love? They both had perfect ratings or close to it or whatever. But yeah, just to watch. Not saying that injuries or anything, I'm not over here like happy about injuries, but to watch all these teams beat up on each other while we're resting, I love to see that as well. But watching, just here we go, and then to see freaking the Packers get, a pick six when that's what the Dallas was doing all year, for the tables to fully flip on them like that. It was just beautiful. The Dallas Cowboys were the only home team to lose in the wild card weekend. We already know all the talk with Micah Parsons and Debo about trust and believe, cry now, cry or laugh now, cry later. And just, it's a beautiful thing. I could keep on saying everything that has happened during that, but, I'm sure you guys will dive more into the game. But yeah, deuces Cowboys. It might have to. All right, here's my big thing. When it comes to the coach. People are like, oh my God, the coach. McCarthy. And I know it's not so easy to just switch quarterbacks, but I don't think Jim Harbaugh is going to save Dak Prescott. I don't think Bill Belichick is going to save playoff Prescott. I don't think you could rest in heaven Tom Landry. You could.
Is Keltz?
Yeah, I feel like too much emphasis gets put on the coach, and I think this is a spot. If I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan, I want a new coach and a new quarterback. And I know it's hard with contracts and all those things. But personally, like, of course, I don't want McCarthy, but you got to do something at QB. I don't care what the stats show. Like, when you go 2-5 in playoff games, I know, and I think it gives the Cowboys false hope, because if you look at Prescott's stats in the playoffs, they're not horrible, but it feels like he's the reason why they lose those playoff games, regardless of what the stats show. Garbage time, yada, yada. What are your guys' feelings on the Dallas Cowboys, Green Bay Packers? We can start with E and then wrap it up. E, Mean, and then Jay.
Yeah, I want Jay to say something because I love when he says it. But the Packers beat the what off the Cowboys, Jay?
Man, them Packers beat the brakes off them good old Cowboys.
Yeah, they did. Jordan Love was carving up that defense. I thought the Cowboys, I had a lot of respect for that defense Well, the Packers showed them absolutely no respect and just eviscerated them with chunk plays all over the field. I felt like a happy father watching Romeo Dobbs carve up that defense because I am a Romeo Dobbs stan out of Nevada, the wide receiver. He was balling. Really, the Packers, they got a bunch of weapons. Jordan Love likes to spread that ball around, and we'll talk about the Packers a little bit later, but I mean, they kicked the Cowboys' butt. What do the Cowboys need to do? Like, Dak's their guy. Dak ain't going nowhere. But what I think they need is just to completely change the style of offense. Like, they just live in the shotgun constantly. They never really try to run the ball. Tony Pollard was ultra disappointing in his franchise tagged year. So it's like they need to bring someone in who's wants to run the ball, because Mike McCarthy and previously Kellen Moore, they never really were committed to the run. So I don't know why I'm giving the Cowboys tips on how to fix them, but that's what they would need to do.
I mean,
I'm gonna pass the mic over to Jake because Jake's been quiet. I've already got my like heat on the Tua thing, so I gotta settle down. Go down.
It's hot about Tua. Hey, in regards to Charles Omenihu, real quick, I would go to KC2 if they paying me 2 years, $16 million. I would go to KC2 because there's no way in hell he's getting that contract from the Niners. There's no way in hell. The Cowboys, they are who we thought they were. I think Dak is good, but when he plays the upper echelon teams, he just shrinks in the moment. And it's not just him. It's like the team doesn't really believe in him. You don't run the ball with Pollard. Clearly, he's not Zeke 2.0. The team really isn't the same without Zeke. They really need to get another running back. But I think it starts at the top. Yeah, you can get rid of McCarthy. Yeah, you can get a new quarterback. But it doesn't even matter who the head coach is. If Jerry Jones is still calling the shots from the top, we see what he's done since the Cowboys won their last Super Bowl. And it hasn't been pretty. I just think that type of leadership doesn't really work in the NFL, where he's the owner, he's the general manager, no one can really hold him accountable. He's not going to fire himself, so it's everyone else's fault. And I think clearly Jerry is 81 now. I mean, I think it's time to just give it up, Jerry. Hire another GM. Mike McCarthy, he's probably not the answer. I think Dak is good, but I don't think he'll get you over the top at this point. I mean, he's had 7 seasons. They haven't been to the NFC Championship game, yeah, with Dak. So I think it's probably time to move on. That contract though that Dak has, if they cut him after this year, they owe him $61 million. Maybe in the NFL, that's not. We've seen it before, right? We've seen teams do this before. Who was the last player that was cut that was owed a lot of money? I'm trying to think. Anyone come to mind?
I almost said Deshaun Watson, but oh yeah, just a.
What was the question, Jay?
Well, when was the last time a quarterback was owed a ton of money? Like, let's say Dak. He's like, if they cut him, he's owed $61 million. When was the last time that happened in the NFL?
That's not gonna happen with Russ.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah, with Russ, exactly. The Seahawks traded Russ. They had a huge cap hit over the next 2 years, and then that money falls off. But yeah, I mean, I was surprised that that the Cowboys got blown out. I don't even remember. I don't know. My memory is something else. I don't remember if I took the Cowboys or not, or the Packers, but I wasn't surprised that they lost just in that fashion, though. Like, that's a putrid effort by the Cowboys in front of your home team and your home fans. But hey, the Packers they look pretty good. Can't lie about that. They look pretty good. Oh, it looks like Blue says he picked the Packers. Okay. All right. You were right.
Yeah, I'm disappointed I didn't pick the Packers. I'm disappointed in myself because I should have known. Like, we should have known. Like, whoever did pick the Cowboys, we should have just known. We should have known they would have folded under pressure.
Hey man, they were 16-0 at home, man, and
that's true. Though that's true.
I mean, they finished in the best Dallas fashion you could do it. It was the first time ever a 7 seed won a playoff game on the undefeated turf of the Cowboys in front of Jerry Jones. Like, I mean, it just, you know, I know I sound like a hater or whatever. That's because I am to Dallas. But we're gonna fast forward to the Lions and the Lambs. Man, this had a Super Bowl feeling for me. You know, just it just did. Just like, you know, it was probably one of the better games throughout the wild card weekend. You got, you know, Eminem, you know, not Taylor Swift this time, and you know, just Dan Campbell and biting kneecaps. And I come from that same kind of cloth. You know, I come from that same kind of vocab of just you know, being a straight up savage, you know. And so it was cool to see Jared Goff, you know, feel like, hey, you know, he got pushed off like a Russell Wilson or a how Dak Prescott might. And you know, he went in, you know, because I was thinking, he's for sure a bridge quarterback. But you know, I got to give props to Goff, Laporta. You know, I'm pretty sure me and Baller were big on Laporta coming out. He's had an amazing rookie season for a tight end. Yeah, the Lions got a complete team over there. Like it just is what it is. Am I concerned or afraid or fearful of the Lions? No, just because the Niners are a machine on a mission. That's been my go-to with the Niners of late. That's how I describe them. They're a machine on a mission, and you know that they got a few chips on their shoulder. So I don't see him as big as a threat as the matchup might present. But what did you guys think about the Lions and Lambs game? We'll start with you, Jay, in the Bay, and then whoever's ready after that.
Hey, it was good to see those Rams lose, but I can't lie. Like Puka Nacua, I mean, this guy, he's incredible. Like, he's not the fastest, he's not the tallest, but you could tell he's got heart. He was taking all types of hits in that game. I don't know how he got up and continued to play, but Puka Nacua, he's that dude, and I think he was like a 5th round pick. So the Rams, they definitely got a player in him. You know, Kyron Williams, the running back, had a hell of a year. We know they got Cooper Kupp. So the offense seems like it should be good for years to come. Stafford are still solid. The defense, I mean, Aaron Donald seems like he's in the twilight of his career. You know, it's time to hang it up. But I thought that was the best game as far as, it was close from beginning to the end. The other 3 games were pretty much blowouts. But, you know, kudos to the Lions. Who would have thought, you know, you win your division, you win a playoff game. You know, it's a great story for the Detroit Lions and their fans. And I'm looking to see how far it can go. I mean, no one picked the Lions to potentially be in the NFC Championship game. So, crazy.
Yeah, just even thinking about them in the NFC Championship game is hella exciting. As a football fan, of course, like, you know, I want to see us stomp out everybody. But as a football fan, just even thinking about that is hella cool. But it probably won't end well. Amin, how you feeling about?
Hey, real quick, just real quick.
My bad.
You made me think of it, the redemption story of Jared Goff being drafted by the Rams. You take them to the Super Bowl, they trade you to Detroit, and then you end up beating them and ending their, you know, Super Bowl aspirations. That's pretty cool to see too. Jared Goff, he's a Bay Area kid, went to Cal, so you know, real quick, that was pretty cool to see.
Real talk.
I mean, it was a good game, man. I'm happy for Detroit fans. They got their first, you know, playoff win in like, 30, 40 years. So I'm happy for Detroit fans.
91.
Some Rams fans were out there like, that 3rd and 14 or whatever, the whole, you know, pass interference on Puka Nacua. Like, it was bad calls on both sides. I mean, obviously, if you're the refs, I
thought the refs had a bad weekend in general.
That's true also. Like that's facts. But I'm happy for Lions fans and Jared Goff. Like, that's like an FU to Sean McVay and the Rams. You're like, you know what? You traded me and I'm about to end y'all season. But like, I know people are putting out on Twitter, but like, it would have been scary, man. Imagine Matthew Stafford on this Lions team. Like, if they decided to keep Matthew Stafford, but at the same time, like, the team that they did build after, you know, they traded Stafford with like Sam Laporta, Jahmyr Gibbs, and all the moves that they did make once they traded Stafford. Are key guys, a lot of key guys on their team when they did make that trade that they got. But if Stafford on this Lions team, like that team would be even more scary. But hey, potential 49ers and Lions NFC Championship games. So storylines, you know, Dan Campbell's one of those guys. Like the Niners are physical, but Dan Campbell, there was like I saw a clip of him today. Like I do love me a Dan Campbell as a head coach. Like the way that, you know, the way that he motivates his guys, the leader that he is. You already know, like his players, just how Kyle Shanahan, like Deshaun Gibson said on a podcast today, like a lot of guys are willing to run through a brick wall for Kyle. Like you already know, Lions players would do the same for Dan Campbell in a heartbeat. So.
And I do want to say real quick, like, hey, there's no doubt that Matthew Stafford probably has, you know, one of the best arm talents in the entire NFL. But the reason why Matthew Stafford isn't one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, there's just so much that goes into it. On the surface, it's easy to look at Goff and Stafford and be like, oh my God, Stafford is maybe not way better, but it's easy to just be like, oh, he's better. But I don't know. I think there's a lot more that goes into quarterbacking, you know, just some of the boneheaded mistakes that Stafford does make. You know what I'm saying? But that's a whole different quarterback debate. I feel what you're saying. I mean, Baller, how did you feel about the Lions and Lambs?
Yeah, it was a great game. Came down to the wire. I thought the Lions, you know, their talented players showed up. Alo the Truth had a comment up here. Amon-Ra St. Brown was freaking awesome. That guy, he was getting open all over the field. Jared Goff knows where to look, you know, on third down, and it's Amon-Ra. Jahmyr Gibbs had some explosive plays in the past game. David Montgomery, it's like they really got that thunder and lightning combo with Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. And then on the defensive side, man, I thought Aiden Hutchinson was freaking awesome. Like he was getting a jump out of his three-point stance. He was getting phenomenal jumps when that ball was snapped. So, you know, Lions are going to be playing the Bucks, obviously. And I think Amin's right. I think we're going to be seeing the Lions make a trip here to Levi's. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. There's still some business to take care of.
Hey, Baller, how come you didn't say nothing to Keltz about the whole Stafford Goff thing? But I mentioned Tua, and Baller gets all, he's like, whoa. But, like, Tua's a good quarterback.
It's the way I did it. It's like I went from saying what I said to, hey, well, anyway, what's your thoughts on the game? It's just I maneuvered it. That was more.
That was a veteran move. Yeah.
It was.
The way it came off with you is you were bashing Tua like he doesn't belong as a starting quarterback. You know, comparing him to Jimmy Garoppolo. Like Tua's way freaking better than Jimmy Garoppolo.
Is he though? Is he though?
Way better than Jimmy.
I would take Tua over Jimmy. Yeah,
I would take Tua over Jimmy, but like.
Jimmy.
Okay, like the real fair comparison will be Dak.
Way better.
I think that's a better comparison than Dak.
Tua and Dak.
The real question is
I mean, now you're talking about two top 14 quarterbacks.
Yeah. They're comparable.
Mason, the red-nosed Rudolph, or Jimmy Garoppolo. That's the question. No, I'm kidding. But
you're screwed either way.
Hey, I've been hard on Josh Allen. I started thinking, like, why am I hard on this dude? Like, kind of I don't know. Maybe I got bitterness about Trey Lance and what Trey was supposed to be. I don't even know exactly why. I'm figuring this out right now. But part of me was like, I could see Josh Allen being the best quarterback in the NFL. And if he was a little bit more of a Brock Purdy and a system guy and a game manager guy, he could probably, you know, be the best in the NFL. It feels like he has everything you could want. And he's the prototypical dude you would make on Madden. You know, he could run it, he could throw it. Like Josh Allen is that guy, man. When he's not making the boneheaded mistakes, it's like you don't even have to force the issue and be this, you know, all the time gunslinger hero ball. Just minimize the mistakes. But anyways, enough of that. The Bills handled business before the game did start. I said I think Josh Allen's gonna, you know, do all the things, do everything plus more and show why he's one of the best. I know it's versus the Steelers, but the Steelers were hot. You know, they were throwing up stats how Rudolph was the best quarterback in statistically in the NFL during the time that he's been QB since I think Christmas or whatever. But you know, the snow was there. That was wild. Just watching people even get to their seats. I seen something on the internet where it said like people could just pick their seats. I don't know if that was true or not, but you know, I seen something like that. So that was kind of crazy. The Bills, you know, they did let the Steelers get back into it, man, but you know, a little bit. But what was your guys'? We could go quick on this one if y'all want, unless there's a quarterback debate. But what was your guys' thoughts on this game?
Absolutely, there's a quarterback debate. I mean, we got Mason Rudolph, we got Josh Allen. Now, real talk. When I think of like the top 5 quarterbacks or players to watch in the NFL, Josh Allen immediately comes to mind. Just the plays he's able to make with his legs. He's if I'm a Bills fan, I'm always on the edge of my seat because is he going to throw another interception or is he going to make an incredible play that you've never seen before? So he's exciting to watch, but the Steelers, they shouldn't even really been in the playoffs. Like if Burrow would have been healthy, I'm sure Cincinnati would have got in ahead of the Steelers. But this was one pick I got right. I definitely got this game right. I took the Bills to win. They took care of business. But yeah, Josh Allen is very exciting to watch. He's got the gunslinger mentality that you love when it works out. You hate when he's like, why is he running to the right and he's throwing all the way to the left? When it works, you're happy. When it doesn't work, you're pissed off. But he definitely makes the game exciting to watch. And yeah, Bills took care of business, man.
Yeah, I mean, you want to go, Baller? You want to go?
No, please.
I mean, this is a game that I also got right, Jay. Like, I don't know how you could have gotten this one wrong unless you were a Steelers fan. But I mean, Josh Allen did his thing. Josh Allen did his thing tonight. And Josh Allen is a quarterback that should have been voted over Tua for Pro Bowl this year. But you know, obviously, you know, the Pro Bowl voting thing is kind of jacked up. But it's okay. It is what it is. One
Tua 36-9. 36-9.
Who's 36-9?
Tua. TD interception.
36 touchdowns and 9 interceptions
for Tua. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And they're out in the first round, and that offense struggles against.
But it's the Pro Bowl's a regular season award. But continue. My bad.
You really think realistically speaking, do you think Josh Allen should have gone Pro Bowl over Tua? Because if you look at what Tua's doing with that team, and you look at what Josh Allen's doing with this team, Josh Allen literally has to do so much in that offense compared to whereas Tua, you got Tyreek Hill who like could take a 10-yard pass and take it to the house.
But I think we have to put it into perspective, man. This is a Pro Bowl. This is fan voting. This is about what your name is, what your stats are for the regular season. Like, I mean, honestly, Pro Bowl is not really that big of a deal. It's all about the All Pro. That's the legit, you know, ranking All Pro for me. But
yeah, I don't know how Dak got it over Brock also for that.
It's just stats. Like Dak puts up good stats versus average to mediocre teams, and then when he plays against the upper echelon talent, hey, he folds. I mean,
hey man, if beginning, middle, and end of the day, none of this will be remembered. The only thing that's really going to be whoever gets that ring, man. It's like it's a cold NFL, man. It's like it feels like it means so much, and then it's just like when you look back, it's like who won the bowl that year, you know. But
G-Rock got it right. Dak Tagovailoa.
Hey, are we still on the Bills and Steelers?
I'm ready to move on. I didn't touch on it, but actually I only caught the end of this game. What I will say is with the Bills, I'm happy that they're finally trying to run the ball, right? Because for the last few years, it's been like Josh Allen was like their leading rusher. So now James Cook's getting going. They're mixing in Leonard Fournette. So I think this Bills team, because of that reason, makes them more legitimate contenders than some of these past Bills teams.
It was cool to see Shakir. Is he a rookie, Shakir?
Year two.
It was cool to just see that play. Just anytime I see any plays like that, it's just I watched a lot of Walter Payton tape just throughout the years. You know, as a kid, you know, those are the guys I studied was Walter Payton, Jerry Rice, Jim Thorpe, you know, Joe DeMott, you know, all the history of sports, you know. So to see plays like that, it just brings me back to just those guys that keep on fighting. Hey, my prediction the past 2 years was the Bills and 49ers, and the reason why I love that prediction so much is because of our guy Chris Berman. You know, everybody knows Boomer, and I feel like the whole 90s, it was always Bills Niners. He wanted it to happen so bad, you know what I'm saying? And the past 2 years, I've went Bills Niners. This year I switched it up, but the Dolphins are out, so it's back to the Bills Niners to see the Berman Bowl. I want to see it one year just because of that kind of. But hey, man, Allen could make stuff happen. The AFC, the QBs over there are pretty loaded, man. And I know we could argue and say what we want about the QBs over here, especially if you're not a Niner fan. Oh, I'm sure fans are looking at the NFC like, oh, cakewalk. Who they got over there? Purdy, Goff, Mayfield, and Love. Compared to Mahomes, Allen, Stroud, and Lamar. I mean, it's crazy. It's kind of crazy, but we're gonna see how it all pans out. Man, hey, we're off to the 40. I think we wrapped up every game. I'm pretty sure we did. If I didn't, you know what? Amin actually shot me a good topic, a little bit of news with Adam Peters. If anything 49er related, if anything comes to your guys' mind, let me know. Hey, I'll just jump off and start out with the Adam Peters news and say, hey, man, watch out for the Commanders real soon here. When you start getting guys like Magic Johnson, Showtime, when you get guys like Matt, I don't care if it's basketball. The thing about building teams is relationships. And this goes for all life, all teams. Almost every single thing is a relationship. If you're good at relationships, you're going to bring in the right people. Like when you start getting a Magic Johnson, a Bob Myers, it wasn't too long ago where Joe Lacob and Bob Myers came to the Warriors and said, by year 3, we're going to win a championship. By year 3, we won a championship. You know what I'm saying? And it's just wild to even think about it like that. That was a large part to Bob Myers. He's now with the Commanders. And then they come and swoop, I guess Bob Myers and Adam Peters were, I think I heard somewhere where they both were in UCLA. So you got to figure they're probably good friends. They're building something over there in Washington. They got the 2nd pick in the draft. I wouldn't be surprised if they move up if they want to, or kind of do whatever they want to right now. Who knows? You still
the Bears need to draft Caleb Williams. I'm seeing people saying the Bears should trade the pick, build around Justin Fields. That'd be a mistake, in my opinion.
I would trust. I hear you, Baller.
Another one of those quarterback takes,
Hey,
be a mistake.
But look who is with the Bears, though. Look who's the Bears have Eberflus, right?
Exactly, Keltz. Exactly.
No. But that's two Ballers' point, though, because
it's a defensive guy.
Eberflus is over here hitting up Greg Roman to be the OC. It's just.
That makes me think they might.
When you start thinking about relationships and who people are, it's hard to see the path for the Bears to success compared to the Commanders with the Magic Johnson, Bob Myers, Adam P. They're going to get that thing right. It starts at the top. It's kind of like when you bring in a Lynch and a Shanahan. They weren't established. They were new, but Lynch is a Hall of Famer. Shanahan is a freaking guru. You combined it. It might take a minute, but eventually you're going to build something. But enough of me gushing over the Commanders and all that. Props to Adam Peters. I see people always saying the words stealing our guys, but I look at it like congratulations. It feels like that's our success. If people keep on taking your coaches or promoting your coaches, that just means you're a very successful organization. And most likely we're getting comp picks. So it's like we got a cheat code on comp picks. Not much is switching in our organization because Kyle got his hand in everything. I didn't know how bright Kyle Shanahan was on the defensive side of the ball until this year, hearing other players talk about, like, this dude is beyond anything I've ever seen. You start hearing Javon Hargraves, and I know it's kind of long-winded, my bad, Amin, but I could go on and on. Props to Peters. And props to Kyle too, you know, and just the organization. That's just a reflection of the success, in my opinion. It sucks, but hey, we're gonna keep on bringing guys in. These Shanahans and Lynch, these guys know a lot of people, young guys, old guys. They're there. They're there to keep on replenishing, to keep it on track. So don't stress, don't worry. We're gonna continue to have the right guys in the building. Amin, hit it up, my man.
I mean, if y'all didn't already know, Peters is already in DC right now. He already took the flight out to DC. So like, I don't know what's going on with the whole Niners thing, but I mean, I understand also that he might want to get the head coach search going on a little bit early. So he already's in DC, but the Commanders got it right with this one because he should have been obviously a GM a couple of years ago, but then he kind of rejected some interviews and things like that. But obviously, those Niners fans like myself at one point, they were like, dude, I wish we kept Adam Peters because a lot of our late round success, even though there's nothing that fully guarantees that our late round success was because of him, but I mean, it definitely helped having a guy like Adam Peters in that room. But I mean, props to the Commanders, they got it right. That team is they definitely took a step in the right direction. I think Adam Peters and whoever he brings in, I think that team will definitely be a contender in the next couple of years. Baller, what's up with the Bears, man? Like Caleb Williams, like Baller, like
does Justin Fields really wowed you these past few years? He hasn't really wowed me.
It's not about Fields though. I feel like with Caleb Williams, you have Eberflus, who I think is an okay, mediocre head coach. If you're bringing in a guy like Greg Roman, like if you were really serious about bringing in Caleb Williams, you might as well fire Eberflus. You might as well maybe bring in a Lincoln Riley, like maybe, right, if he wants to coach his college quarterback in the NFL level, right? But I'm saying, like, if you are bringing in Caleb Williams, you got to get rid of Eberflus. Like, I don't think you can keep Eberflus. And then if you're interviewing guys like Greg Roman for your offensive coordinator position, like
you're just interviewing guys. You gotta interview guys.
I know, but
Greg Roman probably ain't getting the job.
But still, like, if you were really serious about Caleb Williams, you would bring in a new head coach and you would get rid of Eberflus. But if they're keeping Eberflus...
Oh, no, that Eberflus is a defensive guy. Am I mistaken?
He is a defensive guy.
And that Chicago Bear defense, especially after they made the trade and went and got Montez Sweat, Bronson Pash, that defense really turned it around. So maybe they don't want to mess up that cohesiveness that they have on defense. Whereas, yeah, they fired the OC. Let's revamp the offense, and I think it would be a mistake. I know they can get a haul for that first pick.
If I'm the Commanders, I would go get Caleb Williams. I think that's something that Adam Peters would go out and do. If you look at with the Trey Lance thing, I think that's something that Adam Peters, being the second overall pick, I think he would probably be interested in trying to get a Caleb Williams with the first overall pick moving up.
If you have a young quarterback, I don't understand why teams hire a defensive mind. Now, granted, it's worked in Houston with D'Amico. I get it. But now
OC is Slowick, right? Their OC is
Slowick. Now he's going to leave and get a head coaching job. So I don't understand. I'm happy for D'Amico. I'm just saying in general, if I had a young quarterback, I would hire an offensive-minded head coach so that way they can be lockstep for years to come. That way he doesn't leave.
Hey, that's my pick. That was my pick for that's my pick for the Commanders is Bobby Slowick, just because of all the ties. Like, but y'all go ahead.
And it would either be the Commanders, or if you are the Bears and you're trying to get a Caleb Williams, go fire freaking Eberflus and go bring in Bobby Slowick, or go bring in Ben Johnson from Detroit. Like, go bring in an offensive-minded guy. Him and Caleb Williams would be freaking phenomenal together.
And I think it was Bobby Slowick and Greasy who were the two main guys on Purdy as well, just to throw that little nugget up in there too. But hey, man,
appreciate the comment. Kudo. Appreciate that. And real quick on Adam Peters. Happy for Adam Peters, man. I'm sure he'll do great things in DC, but he's not the only guy in the personnel department. I think there's like 15 other guys who are either scouts or player personnel coordinator or scouting assistant. So there's a lot of talent in that front office, and it's next man up. Just like when a coach leaves, it's next man up. But definitely happy that Peters got an opportunity. And he deserves it. He deserves it.
Hey, they're also looking at, of course, sideline Steve, and then Clint Kubiak. I think they're looking at Clint Kubiak, sideline Steve, and I think I don't know. I think that could be it, but still,
I would be surprised if Sideline Steve gets a head coaching job. I'm not hating on him. I would be kind of surprised. I know he kind of got the short end of the stick in Arizona. I mean, that was just unfair. But I would be surprised. And I don't think he would leave for another defensive coordinator job at a different team. I don't know. It's just like a lateral move.
That would be straight stupid.
Yeah, it just don't make sense. So
yeah, I think that was the vision for Kyle, kind of like to just kind of almost chill on doing this recycle thing for a minute. I think that was their vision was, hey, let's get someone like a Wilkes who could be here for a few years. Let's get a older vet, you know, a guy who wants to simmer down and chill, but who knows? Hey, things move fast, and we all know money talks, man, you know. And if he does, hey, man, ain't mad at it. Props to him. Hey, what's up? What up?
Did you hear what Larry Krueger said about the whole Belichick? Bring in Belichick if Wilkes does end up being the head coach. Bring in Belichick. Let him be the DC of the 49ers.
Oh, good God!
Leagues, like, you know,
picking a pickle.
Let the guy dream, man.
Pickle. Come on down.
Let the man have a dream. He's dreaming of Belichick being the DC. Man.
I had a dream. And that reminded me of Don't Be a Menace to Society while drinking your juice in the hood, where Lil Crazy Legs was like, I got a dream. He did the whole MC Hammer skit, but hey, man, you know, sometimes it's just the fun of it. You know, with Krug, especially, Krug wants to pull out, you know, he's gonna pull out anything and everything. That's Krug. He's been doing this for a long time. Shout out to him. You know, I think I went on his show. Oddly enough, I went on his show a long time ago. He was like, oh, you do the Straight Outta the Bay. Who's all on there? I think that's when he asked about Baller, and sure enough, like a good week later, the big Bay Area Baller wound up on the
Kruger.
Wow! Every week I see Baller on there.
I don't know if I ever told that story before. Hey, when names get brought up, I get to talking, man. I'm not one of those. I like to say the name and say what I feel about when it's brought up. I like to keep it real. So, but when I did think about Belichick, I thought there is no way in hell. Like, could you imagine Belichick and Shanahan? One of the first, it's got to be on their mind, 28-3. I mean, that was one of the most significant meetings they've ever had in a Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would almost, there's almost no way that they couldn't think about 28-3 if they see each other. That would just, if me and Jay and the Bay were playing pickup basketball and he mollywopped me, even a few years later, I'm going to remember that time where he mollywopped me, and it's going to be like, oh, yeah, you stomped me out that time. Like, dude,
especially in the Super Bowl.
You came all the way back on my ass. That will never be forgotten. So me thinking those two egos, that there's just, oh, man, just either one of them, I don't know. There's no possible way I could see something like that. I think it was fun just to even imagine it, you know what I'm saying? But hey, wild stuff happens. Anything is possible. But yeah, I wouldn't put not 1 cent on that. How do you guys feel about Belichick?
I mean, the man is 72 years old. I mean, how many more years does he have, you know, left coaching? And can he really win another Super Bowl? I mean, I don't think there's no way in hell Jerry Jones would hire him in Dallas. Like, does Belichick still want general manager control? He wasn't really good at it the last few seasons with the Patriots. That's part of the reason why they weren't able to really, you know, add more talent to that squad. So if someone brought him in, it would be as the head coach, I think, and maybe like a 3-year deal. Supposedly, I don't know if this is a huge deal to him or not, but I think he's only like 15 wins, regular season wins away from the most wins ever by a head coach in the NFL. So if that's his motivation, then yeah, I think if that's his motivation, he won't become a defensive coordinator. I think he would, you know, try to be a head coach in somewhere.
I agree with 177 memorabilia. I think Dallas does need a guy like Mike Vrabel. I think Philadelphia would need a guy like Mike Vrabel if you end up moving off Nick Sirianni. Why would
they fire Sirianni? I don't get it.
I mean,
He won a Super Bowl.
I get it, but like at the same time, think about that Eagles organization though. Doug Peterson also took him to a Super Bowl and then got fired. So that Eagles organization, like
Sirianni got to
go. They don't care if you made it to the Super Bowl or not, right? Like even the Raptors, for example, right? Like Nick Nurse won the freaking finals. 2 years later, like a year later, he's gone. So like,
man,
what have you done for me lately?
Man, when you are in the hallway screaming like you're freaking in the 8th grade, like nah, man. I don't know. Maybe that's what Philly likes. Maybe he fits their culture, but just everything about Sirianni, just in my opinion, it was Big Dom and Sirianni. It doesn't seem professional. Mugging the camp. I mean, we could go down the whole timeline of all the little stuff that Sirianni does. Maybe some teams, you know, it just depends on the team, the owner, the higher up, just what they truly want, what fits their culture, you know, but from the outside looking in, I could easily see Sirianni like deuces. Like
my issue with Belichick though, Keltz, my issue with Belichick though is like looking at that pay, like unless he goes to a team like the Falcons, like if he goes to a team like the Chargers or like the Cowboys, I don't even think like a team like the Chargers or Cowboys, like if you look at with Belichick, what he's done with his offense the last couple of years, like sure the defense is good, but he doesn't bring in like for example, like how D'Amico brought in a Bobby Slowick or like someone that's a young, smart offensive mind or someone like Belichick. You look at the guys that ran his offense the last couple of years, Bill O'Brien,
garbage, all of them.
Patricia, like he's bringing in dudes that he knows. Like it's never, I'm gonna take a chance on this guy that has potential, or it's always guys that he knows. And under no circumstance should Matt Patricia, a defensive coordinator, be running your offense. Like that doesn't make sense. That's like, are you trying to lose the game? Like, are you trying to have your offense be ranked like worse in the league? Like I don't get that. So if he goes to a team like the Cowboys, that offense ain't getting better. If he goes to a team like the Chargers, you're telling me Justin Herbert with Bill O'Brien's gonna be any better for the Chargers or make them any much better of a team? Like, sure, their defense might be better, but offensively, like, it's like literally like you get worse. You get so much worse at one, and you might get a little bit better at the other.
And someone made a real good point. I think it could have been on 95 point. I think, 95.7 the game. I like to be on point with who I hear it from. It's not my idea, but could you imagine Bill Belichick going to a new team? Because he's been with the Patriots forever, right? So he's already, even when he first goes to the Patriots, it's more old school. It's back in the day. But could you picture, Belichick coming to a new team, trying to pitch to that team or hype that team up? Just, hey guys, just the whole Belichick's whole persona and who he is.
So you're saying he can't relate to players this day?
And if that culture isn't already established, that would be that's oil and water. That would be hard to. Now, someone like Harbaugh, he's going to come slapping you on the shoulders. He's going to pump you up. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? He's going to make it fun. He's going to be honest, be real, be open, transparent, just all of it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh yeah, I'm picking Harbaugh all the way if I had to pick between the two. And, Harbaugh has shown he could go somewhere new and, bring it up. He's shown that, so, I mean, pretty much all Niners love Harbaugh. Back in the day, the comeback kid, I think that was the nickname he got, playing football. And he has that same mentality in coaching. He's just that he's that gritty dude. One of his best lines that I loved, I think he was talking about Alex Smith and Kaepernick, but some got baby deer skin and some got armadillo skin. That's one that I will always remember. And it's true, man. You got to have thick skin in this business, man, or you will get eaten up. Where are we at? If y'all want to talk about coaches, all the movement that's going on, if anything has hit your guys' mind, shoot for it. But we could talk about the 49ers Packers, keys to victory.
Real quick.
Go ahead, my man.
You made a great point about Belichick. Like, I don't think he should go to a team like the Cowboys or the Chargers. I don't think those teams would even hire Belichick. But like, even for like a team like the Falcons, right? Like a team that's on the rise, rebuilding, like Belichick doesn't seem like a Dan Campbell type of guy. Like, you look at what Dan Campbell did in Detroit. Like, he created that culture. But the way that Dan Campbell created that culture, like the energy that he brings, the way that he's able to motivate guys, the passion that he brings every single day, like a Jim Harbaugh, right? for a team that like even is a rebuilding team like the Falcons, which I don't think he's going to get a head coaching job with teams that are already borderline contenders or that already have a talented team. If you go to a team like the Falcons, for example, who gave him an interview today, like a guy like Bill Belichick with the Falcons, like he's not super energetic. He's like, I don't know how you're going to really build that culture if you're like even on a rebuilding team, if you're Bill Belichick, because like he's such a calm persona. Like he's not calm, but he's like just chill. Like he's like very straightforward, very direct.
Who are all the guys that Jerry Jones typically brings in, all the way to Parcells or Wade Phillips? Wade Phillips, Jason Garrett.
I'm not gonna lie though. I think with
man,
Jerry,
if it feels like Belichick would be like that perfect fit, especially for a Dallas. Hey, real talk, baller. I mean, no lies detected over here. Like,
but that's the thing about Jerry, though. Like, I feel like Jerry
and MLK. Go ahead.
That's the thing about Jerry. I feel like with Jerry kind of wants to be like he wants to be a superstar in a way. Like you look at like there's a lot of times owners aren't doing freaking interviews post game, especially after playoff losses or like even in general. Like after games, Jerry's out there doing interviews. And you look at Mike McCarthy. Like, is Mike McCarthy a good coach? You could say sure. But, like, there was probably better candidates out there than Mike McCarthy. There was probably better candidates than Jason Garrett when they hired Jason Garrett. So, like, I feel like with Jerry Jones, I feel like Jerry Jones always wants a guy that, like, is okay. I don't know how to explain it. But, like,
Jerry Jones wants a yes man. He wants someone that's going to, you know.
He wants a yes man. Like, Jerry Jones would never hire a guy like a DeMeco Ryans.
Or Jim Harbaugh. He would never hire Jim Harbaugh.
No, hell no.
Hell no. He wouldn't even think about doing it.
No. And that's why the Cowboys are where they're at. They can have all the talent in the world, but you know, it's just not going to work out. It's never going to work out.
Where would you guys want to see? Because we could probably all agree Jim Harbaugh is like I mean, if I'm a struggling team, I'm doing everything I can to get a Jim Harbaugh type. Where would you guys want to see Jim Harbaugh go? Like, I mean, to me, it feels almost like a no-brainer with Herbert, San Diego. I mean, the weather, you know, San Diego, or it's not San Diego. Go Chargers, go. But LA, you know, I mean, that feels like the easy choice. I mean, I would hate to see Harbaugh go to freaking Seattle. I wouldn't want to see that, but maybe for the ratings, that would be pretty dope. I mean, where do you guys think, or where do you think would be the best fit just for the team and for Harbaugh? Like, if y'all have any thoughts, if not, like it's
Chargers. I mean, respect like Chargers. That's still like literally
feels like it.
And like I remember seeing it like Greeny on ESPN. He did like an interview. Like they met somewhere. Him and Harbaugh met somewhere like at an event or something. And literally the whole time, instead of talking about Michigan, instead of talking about college playoffs, instead of talking about any of that, Harbaugh, all he was talking about was Justin Herbert. Like, he freaking loved Justin Herbert. So, like, that's literally a match made in heaven. Harbaugh won the national championship. He did what he needed to do for Michigan, moves on to the NFL, and he gets a quarterback that he freaking loves. Like, that's literally what Greeny said. He was like, all we talked about was Justin Herbert. That's all he was talking about.
That'd be cool to see, to be honest. Go ahead, Jeff.
Jim Harbaugh, he has to go to an iconic franchise. He has to go to a franchise that, you know, once had someone who didn't like to play by the rules. You know, he liked to play and own the team by his terms. Hell, he even moved his football team a few times. Harbaugh has to go to the Las Vegas Raiders. And then they'll trade Max Crosby, hopefully to the Niners. But I think Harbaugh would do good things with the Las Vegas Raiders. It's a big name. I know Antonio Pierce is getting a lot of consideration, which he should. But let's be real. I mean, you have Jim Harbaugh, a proven winner, basically at every place he's ever been to, going back from college. And now he's finally added the national championship to his resume. He didn't win with the Niners, but we were in contention basically every year. I think he should go to the Raiders. I think, can you imagine the Raiders-Niners rivalry? I know we don't play each other every year, but that would be fun to see again.
And it feels
the Las Vegas Raiders.
The Raiders. It feels like Mark Davis is that guy who wants that guy like a Harbaugh to take it. It feels like Mark Davis is waiting to hand the keys over to that guy that's just going to run the whole ship. And that's what he thought Gruden was going to, Gruden, whatever. And, who was the next guy? McDaniel,
Daniels, yeah. I think Davis wants to be hands off, and I think that's the way the owners should be. They just hire the football people, let them do their job.
Maybe
I'll tell you where I don't want Jim Harbaugh to go, and that's to Seattle. Oh, yeah. I don't want him going there, because him and Jed York, those two did not get along. So imagine if he's like, you know what, I can go to Seattle and I can kick Jed York's butt twice, or try to at least, right? That's something that I don't want Harbaugh to end up in Seattle, because Harbaugh is a winner. It feels like he does whatever it takes to win. Sometimes maybe sending a staffer to go on opposing teams' sidelines.
Whoa. Allegedly.
When these college coaches get under some heat, right? What do? It's like just bolt for the door, go to the next opening. Not saying that's what Harbaugh is doing, but that's what Pete Carroll did. Seattle got Pete to come. So what if they did something similar with Jim? I don't want Jimmy to end up in Seattle.
Man, Baller, you just brought back memories. Just the whole, this is a men's meeting. Whatever Harbaugh said to Jed York, I mean, like, man. Yeah, it is what it is. Hey, one thing I do know, that the 49ers are well and established. We don't got no issues with getting bounced out the wild card, or, dealing with any Siriannis, or God, I still can't get that out my head what Sirianni did in Kansas City. Just a joke. I rarely use garbage or clown talks or none of that, but yeah, with him, there's an exception. Hey, we're in a good place. We're in the divisional round. We got the freaking Packers, the young and up and coming Packers. What a story and turnaround for their season. Jordan Love, what a turnaround for his season. He's one of the hottest quarterbacks in the NFL. I can't remember the stats or the records, but I know, he's doing the dang thing. He's quarterbacking. You know what I'm saying? I like to say quarterbacking because sometimes you get some stats that are inflated, and just you see guys that aren't making the reads, or just they're trying to run around and they're lightning in the bottle. But you can see when guys like Jordan Love and CJ Stroud, I throw Brock Purdy in there as well, when they're quarterbacking and it looks sustainable, and it's cool to see. It's cool to see young guys sit the bench for a while, or be a rookie and just come out and just ball. Just either way. And so we got Love coming in. They got Dobbs, they got Reed, they got Watson, they got Aaron Jones. And one thing I do want to say about Aaron Jones is when he faces the Niners, I did a little stats on Aaron Jones. It's never too good. It feels like a lot of these teams that look real good doing all these things, then maybe some concern comes to the table, or a little bit of fear gets sold to, maybe for discussion, whatever it is. But yeah, I respect the Packers. They're a good team, but the 49ers are a different beast. I expect the 49ers to handle them in all phases. That's not saying that I don't think Love will play a good game and make some things happen. I don't think we're going to just stomp them out, but I do think we are going to get the better of them on all levels. But I do expect them to maybe be a little bit better on defense than one might think at the same time. I just want to get your guys' overall thoughts on 49ers, Packers. Who else they got? They got Musgrave over there. I know they got a few injuries, so I'm watching them getting banged up, As a matter of fact, I think they got a big list of injuries, and who knows how many of those guys will actually not play. But we'll see the closer it comes game time. I also seen there could be some rain in the forecast. I've put a big emphasis on that when it comes to Brock Purdy throwing the ball in rain and stuff like that. But at the same time, I joked on Twitter and said very concerning, but I was being sarcastic, and to a lot of guys who are very concerned about certain things. I just think that word gets thrown around too much. fear or scared or concerned. I think there's a way you can respect the op and still be fully confident. That's just me. But how you guys feeling about this matchup? I'm extremely confident. I don't think I almost don't even think the opposition like matters at this point. I think it's just about, to be honest, just not turning the ball over. Like if we just play our game and not make boneheaded mistakes, I don't think anyone could beat us, even the Ravens or the Bills or KC. I know it's a while till we get there, but what are y'all thinking about this specific matchup?
Hey, it's going to be a hell of a game. Which Packers team are we going to see? Are we going to see the Packers team? I think they started their first 9 games. They were like 3-6. The game looked a little too fast for Jordan Love. Or are we going to see the Packers, the last back half of the season? Jordan Love, 19 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. He looks like he's the real deal. He looks like he could be up there with the next, young, great quarterbacks. You put in CJ Stroud as well. Aaron Jones has been pretty good the last 4 games, over 100 yards each game, but he hasn't faced off against his 49ers run defense. And Keltz mentioned it. Hey, when Purdy throws an interception, we're 2-4. When he doesn't throw an interception, hey, we 10-0. So it's really up on Purdy. Just don't turn the ball over. And we've talked about this. Just one more thing real quick. The 49ers, I think they need to start off hot. I think the 49ers, just to be fair, the 49ers are a front-running team. If we get behind, Shanahan, gets a little nervous, Purdy gets a little nervous, maybe everyone on the squad gets just a little bit nervous. So I think it's important for us to get off to a good start. Except that if we get the coin toss, I think we should receive the ball. I know Shanahan likes to, receive it in the second half, but I think we need to get off to a fast start. And we've blown out the Cowboys, so the Packers blowing them out, it's still impressive. You still did it in their house, NFL playoff game, but I just think we're much better than Dallas. So I'm confident as well as Keltz is. So I think we'll definitely win the game.
Yeah, looking at the Packers, Jordan Love, man, this kid's got some arm talent. There were some throws that he couldn't step into, and he's still winging it. He's got a plethora of weapons that he likes to utilize over there. He spreads the ball out with all those weapons he's got. But one thing I've picked up on is that the Packers are awful against the run. This was a bottom 5 run defense in the regular season, giving up like 130 yards per game on the ground. So Kyle, let's take advantage of that. And then Aaron Jones, Jay, you touched on Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones has looked freaking awesome. Like I thought he's a guy, he missed a large chunk of this year with a hamstring injury. So it's like maybe he didn't get like the wear and tear of all the 17 games, because it's like he looks fresh right now. He's running it well. He's quick. I thought Aaron Jones has looked awesome these last few weeks. So the key to the game, in my opinion, for the Niners is stop the run. Stop the run. Limit Aaron Jones. AJ Dillon, if he comes back, doesn't scare me. The other guys, I don't like what I saw from the running backs not named Aaron Jones. So Niners, contain the run. That's going to be my biggest key.
Armstead.
And then Dontavion Wicks is a guy who Jordan Love has really picked up some chemistry with here later on. Of course, they got Romeo Doubs, Christian Watson, Jaden Reed, but it's like lately this kid Wicks, man, he's been making some plays. So keep him under wraps. But run the ball on him. That's where that defense is weak.
Yeah, Packers ranked 26th against the run this year. So Kyle Shanahan, you have Christian McCaffrey. You love using Christian McCaffrey in the regular season, right? Go use him in the playoffs. Run the ball in their throat. Do what you did in that 2019 game against freaking Packers, an NFC Championship game. Run the ball down their throat. They can't do anything. Like even when the Packers, not the Packers, the Cowboys, they had some success running the ball with Tony Pollard also on a couple of early downs against the Packers. So run the ball on them. Utilize Christian McCaffrey. defensively, stop Aaron Jones. I had Aaron Jones on my fantasy team. He's missed a bunch of time this year, so Aaron Jones is definitely fresh. He looks really good. So Eric Armstead coming back, I think that definitely is a huge boost for the 49ers. One guy that I'm a little bit worried about is Jair Alexander, but he's coming off some sort of like foot injury. He got hurt.
He retweaked the ankle.
Yeah,
he came into
and he got hurt and he came out. Yeah. He came out, but Jair Alexander, like Brock Purdy, be careful. Don't test Jair Alexander. Like,
hey, Darnell Savage too. He had the pick six. Darnell Savage is a ball hawk of a safety as well.
Yeah. So I mean, honestly speaking, as long as Kyle Shanahan, I'm not saying play too conservative, but I think honestly, if the Niners just don't beat themselves, I think the Niners are gonna dog stop the Packers. I know it's a little bit arrogant, might be a little bit overconfidence, but I'm honestly telling you, I think the Niners can have a game how the Packers did the Cowboys. I think the Niners can do that against the Cowboys as long as we don't shoot ourselves in the foot. Kyle Shanahan comes out in his bag, has the game plan going, has the runs with Christian McCaffrey, has the jet sweeps with Debo. We see some Brock Purdy slants, things like that. Maybe some one or two deep shots here and there to maybe an Ayuk or But I think honestly, if the Niners just don't beat themselves defensively, we don't miss tackles. Guys do their jobs, I think we have a pretty good shot. And I think, honestly speaking, when we're playing at our best, which I think this team will do next week, or not next week, this week, which I think our team will do this week, I think we dog stop the Packers. I don't even think it's close. Now, if the Niners don't come out and ball out and, are missing tackles out here and are being reckless with the ball, then, it might be a little bit closer. But if the Niners are playing their best football and the Packers are playing their best football, I think the Niners dog stomp them. And also, Jordan Love is 1-6 when he throws an interception. The Niners lead the league in interceptions this year. Get pressure after Jordan Love. Make him get the ball out quickly. Get him nervous. Nick Bosa, Chase freaking Young. Like, we brought you in. We thought you would have the Emmanuel Sanders effect. Yet so far, you haven't had the Emmanuel Sanders effect. What's the best time to have the Emmanuel Sanders effect? The freaking playoffs. When it matters. When it counts. We need more from you, big boy. We need some sacks. We need some freaking sacks from you, Chase Young. I don't care about pressure. Pressures are cool, but we brought you in for them sacks. You got Nick Bosa on the other side. We need some sacks from you. You're getting quarterback money. So get pressure after Jordan Love. Make him a little bit nervous. Make him get the ball out a little bit quicker. Get some pressure on him. Let Charvarius Ward, Demo do their thing. And freaking DBs, please catch it. Get on the jugs machine, please. Because I'm sorry, Charvarius Ward, you've been better at it. Demo, you got a pick a couple of weeks ago. But some of these games, man, these Niners, I feel like they could be getting 3-4 interceptions a game when they only end up with one because guys drop balls that are right in their hands or, that are, interceptable. But,
felt like it was not too long ago the Niners defense would get 3 or 4 interceptions for the year. So, I get where you're coming from.
It is better.
I used to go off on it. I'm sure y'all see me. I went off on it a couple years ago because I was going to go off on it until it changed. But going through the whole history of Super Bowl winning teams and what it means to have a DB, a Pro Bowl DB, and all those kind of things. And I'm glad to see us that not be our absolute weak link anymore, man. It's hella cool to see that. The quarterback and cornerbacks are the two positions where I feel like those are the guys who could get picked on the most. You know what I'm saying? So if you don't got the cornerbacks, I know the trenches absolutely are important. The whole squad is important. You know what I'm saying? But there were some patterns or not patterns, but kind of trends that I did notice, and also some history about this Packer and 49er game. I might as well say it, but this will be the most games two opponents have ever faced versus each other in NFL history. This will be the 10th matchup in the playoffs for the Packers and the 49ers. And I believe there's a few other teams tied at 9, and the 49ers are also in some of those, but yeah, this will be since 1996. This will be our 10th matchup. We're 5-4 versus the Packers. We've won the last 4 in a row, going back to 2013. Just off top of the head, I'm pretty sure it was 13, 14. Yeah, who cares about the years? But it was, but y'all know the years where we won the Packers, and most recently, the past couple of years, we've sent them home. We own the Packers right now. They owned us for a little bit of time in the 90s, the late 90s. They were on our heads. You know, we broke through with Steve Young and Terrell Owens with the catch too. That was freaking magical. But oh my God, I just gave myself flashbacks. That was magical watching that as a youngster. But hopefully we don't got to see it come to that being that close. Hopefully we make it 5 straight, or we're gonna make it. What's that?
You know what's also magical? Watching that Grizzlies Warriors game today, man. Like, no Marcus Smart, no
Where's the
John
button?
Morant.
Hell
Like,
nah. Hell to the nah, nah, nah. Hell to the nah.
Hey, Keltz, what's your score prediction for the Niners and Packers game?
I haven't thought about it, but just off top of the dome, I'm gonna just say 34-24. I'll give them respect. I've been going like 34. I've been going 31-17 is my go-to, but
that's
just
my
off
build. That's my
off top of the dome without putting too much into it, 34-24. Maybe I'll switch it up later, and then it'll wind up being wrong if I overthink it, and I'll pull Shanahan. But I did also want to mention, we'll get there. There's been 3 times in Brock Purdy's career where he has not played for a while and then come back and played. It's when he first ever played versus the Dolphins. Had a good game. The beginning of this year, he didn't play, didn't play for a while, played versus the Steelers, had a good game. The bye week, played versus the Jags, and we know how that went. That might have been one of his better, just the double clutch, half throw, bomb to Kittle. So my thing is whenever there's been this layoff, Brock Purdy, he comes through and he's pretty much balling all 3 times where he's had time off. I actually did come up with that one by myself, but
that's astute, very astute. I didn't even think of that.
But I've also put Jordan Love. Okay, what happens when quarterbacks are reaching these high peaks? When they're just at their peak of the best that they're ever playing, typically there's a fall. We've seen that happen with Brock Purdy. When he's balling out of control, he'll somehow, some way, every single quarterback, when they're balling out of control, they'll get humbled. Whether it's the team, whether it's an injury, whether it's just you met someone better that Sunday. So with the trends, the way my mind's seeing it, I expect Love to have a drop-off versus this 49er defense. And Kyle Shanahan is probably marinating something as tasty as, I don't know, bag o' crab, something. He's marinating a nice tri-tip right now with all the fixings, because just Shanahan with this much time, how many days has it been? The whole 49er squad with this much time. I mean, the last time we seen it was versus the Jags, and that's when I believe we came off some losses, right? And then had the bye week. Oh, yeah. We finished off with the loss to the Bengals. We reset and we went on another run. Well, fellas, I feel like this is the reset and we're going into the new season, and it's going to be another run straight to Vegas. And that's just the way I see it. What are you guys feeling as far as, just everything I just said, trends and just, Shanahan cooking and the time off, and what they got 6 days, we got 21. Like, my God, it could get ugly, but I want to give them respect. So 34-24 predictions from y'all as well.
Hey, great info by you, Keltz. Great info. Like the historical aspect, and Purdy, he's had 3 times in his career where he's had time off. Didn't even come to mind, but that's great that you thought of that. Yeah,
I took a shower and it happened. I took a shower and it happened.
it fits. Nah, but I think Jordan Love is going to have a good game. Honestly, like I think, like Barry Baller mentioned it earlier. Like he was making some throws and he was throwing off his back foot. Like I could see the Niners getting close to him, and he's still willing to make that throw. And our secondary is going to be tested, because what Packers offensive player are you going to try to take out outside of Aaron Jones? He's got tight ends, he's got multiple wide receivers, so he hasn't really. You don't know who his favorite target is yet, so he can go in any direction. And I think the Packers are probably going to score 20 points. I wouldn't be surprised if they score 20 points, but I think the Niners will win. If we get 1 or 2 turnovers, I think that'll seal the game, and we take care of the ball. We don't have any turnovers or excessive penalties. I think we'll take care of business, but I could see us winning like 31-24. I could see something like that.
think the Niners are going to come out laser focused. They're not going to waste any of this rest. The Packers, they got a short week playing on a Sunday. Now this game's going to be Saturday night. Score prediction I came up with 33-20. I think that the Niners are going to be in control kind of throughout this game. But, 33-20, like Keltz said, show the Packers some respect. I don't think it's going to be some massive blowout, but I think the Niners control it.
Yeah.
Kind of from
it's going to have a blowout feel. Yeah.
I think something like that where the score, the feel of the game might not be indicative of the score because the Niners kind of control it. But it might finish as a 2-possession game.
Amin.
Yeah, I said it like I think the Niners, if they don't beat themselves, I think this will be an easy win for the 49ers. As much as the Packers, I do think Jordan Love will have himself a good game, but at the same time, it's not going to be what happened last week. Like that Cowboys team, it was like almost watching like an NFL team going up against a high school team. Like guys were like wide open, like Romeo Doubs on that one play. Like he was just straight open. Like he freaking Stephon Gilmore. Like you got to get yourself a map or something like that because Romeo Doubs freaking torched you. You did not know where you were going, but as long as the Niners take care of business, I think we get it done, and I think we get it done comfortably. I think the Niners get it done 31-17. I think the Niners get it done 31-17, and then we'll see the Lions next week, which will be a good one.
We about to see the real All-Pro in Mooney Ward because it isn't Bland or whatever an All-Pro over there in Dallas. Because I mean, what happened with that? But man, I had a good. Oh yeah, my other biggest upside for the Niners is, man, these guys, man, we've had the door slammed in our face kind of year after year after year, man, that these young Packers don't know nothing about that kind of bitter, just struggle and fight. And just remembering Debo take over halfway through the season a couple years back and just clawing our way and knocking on the door all the way from 2019. And that brings a different element to your team, man. That's why I say we're just that machine on a mission. Like, it's the Packers are up and coming, and you could say the same thing for the Lions, the Buccaneers. Like these teams just aren't even spiritually and mentally on the level of the Niners. And I know that's just a sprinkle. That's just a little sprinkle. Sprinkles on top. That's not the main course. That's not the main piece on why we're going to do it. But I think that definitely favors us to the fullest. I think we're going to want it more. We're going to be hungry. We are not going to let one little ounce, like when you have that kind of experience, you've been there and done that. The little things from back in the years on what you slipped on and what you're not going to slip on this go around. These teams are going to be slipping on some stuff, whether it's the Lions being there the first time, the Packers, the Buccaneers. I could even, go in the AFC with, a few of those teams, the Bucks, or the Bills haven't really, gotten over humps or, besides Pat Mahomes, hey, no one else has pulled it off, so far. That's in the playoffs right now. But I think the 49ers are next. They're that team that has the complete squad. We're hungry. We're coming to take it. I feel like I've said that the past couple of years, but yeah, there's no excuses this year. It's laid out for us. Like the doors are open. It's like it feels like we don't even got to kick the doors down at this point. Like we've been kind of peeking through the door. We see the prize. The door slams in our face. It's like, I've been talking, we got to kick the door down this year, but it's kind of open for us to just run through, and it's time. It is. What up?
This reminds me of like that old Bulls team when they were always losing to the Detroit Pistons year after year after year. And like, I get it, it's not the same team, but it's like that team has been so close, and they know they had a good team. And like every year you could have said something, right? Like that Bulls team, Scottie Pippen had like a migraine and went to Game 7. They were close that second year. They still end up losing. And then they come back to third year. They end up working on the offseason. They end up grinding and end up getting over that mountain of the Detroit Pistons. They end up winning that first ring. I think this is our year like that where they've been close. Like you remember that image of Deebo Samuel crying on the sideline after that Rams game. You look at obviously last year with Brock Purdy and Josh Johnson. They couldn't even throw the ball. Like you didn't even have a chance. Whereas this year, like, most of the guys are healthy, if not all of the guys are healthy. And this is probably the year I feel like the guys are motivated because they've been in the situation before. They've made divisional rounds before. They've won number one seed before. They've won the division before, but they want to make it to that Super Bowl, and not only make it to that Super Bowl, but win that Super Bowl this year because they've also made it to the Super Bowl before, right? So it's like this team is hungry. This team is motivated. This team has tasted success before, but it's never been, you know, the ultimate prize, which is that Super Bowl trophy. And the team has been so close every single time, and sometimes they've even reached that finish line, yet they didn't win the race. Where I feel like this year is our year where this team is determined to actually get it done and win the race.
If the 49ers win the Super Bowl, does Kyle Shanahan take the whole squad to Cabo? Is it just the Cabo clique, or does the whole squad go?
The real question, though, is if the Niners do win the Super Bowl, does Baller keep the mustache all the way until next season so that we can bring it back? Because, you know, that's the real question. Does Baller keep the stash all the way till next year? Yeah, you're muted, Baller. You're muted.
You should just let him keep going for a minute now.
That'd be a negative. I gave the stash a shot, and while, you know, they did win the first, 4 or 5 game, whatever it was, I had the stash for a while, but hey, Niners lost to the Browns.
It wasn't your fault, Baller. It was Jay's. It was Jay's fault because he was like, I want this team to go through adversity, and this team went through adversity, which wasn't a bad thing necessarily, but
to be honest, I hated the stash. So the stash will, I mean, I got a little baby one right now, but the stash will not make an appearance like that again.
It will not make a triumphant return.
Adios.
All right, hey, y'all want to do some little rapid fire
predictions?
I mean, I haven't looked at it.
Only if it is rapid fire. Sometimes we say rapid fire, and then it goes, and then Amin takes like 5 minutes soliloquy on each pick. So
I haven't even thought about the game. So hey, man, you know, just like the score prediction, I'm going to whatever comes to my mind in the moment. You know, I'm not going to put no thought process, but I'll just start it off with all of mine. You know, I'm going to go Ravens just because, you know, it's the Ravens, and, you know, it's going to be hard for any rookie head coach and rookie to knock off a #1 seed. So I'm going Ravens at home. Who knows what the weather's going to be? I'm going to go with the Bills and Allen to finally get that little monkey off his back going up against Mahomes. And then over here, in the NFC, we got what? We got the Bucks and the Lions. Man, it's easy, you know, logic. You know, I went outside the box last week on a couple of my picks, and, you know, it always switches up. I mean, the easy pick, it feels like it's a lock for the Lions. And I'm almost trying to convince myself to go Bucks, but I'm going to go Lions, Niners, and that pretty much that finishes it off. Let's go with you, Jay.
Hey, I'm going Ravens, Chiefs, Buccaneers. Oh, my bad. Lions. Ravens, Chiefs, Lions.
So, when you look at the Ravens and Lamar Jackson, I'm just kidding. I'm just playing. I'm gonna go with the Ravens, even though I do believe in the Texans. I don't think it's gonna be a blowout. I think the Texans got it. I think they got a little shot.
That's gonna be a game.
That's gonna be a game. I'm gonna go with the Chiefs. I think, you know, the Chiefs refs are on their side. I'm gonna go with the Chiefs. I don't think that Bills team gets over the hurdle. You know, something about that Chiefs team. Come playoff time, they just get it done.
I'm here. Patrick Mahomes. My bad. I had to do the Kermit the Frog. Patrick Mahomes.
And I'm gonna go with the Lions. That's it. I made it short and simple, like Baller requested.
Yeah, there's some tough matchups, fellas. I'm going to go with the Ravens, but like Amin said, I think that's close. The Niners. I'm going the Lions, and then, I'm going to go with Buffalo. But that game, I'm really looking forward to watching that one, seeing Mahomes on the road in the playoffs. It'll be fun, but I'm going Bills.
Yeah, isn't this the first time Mahomes is on the road in the playoffs?
On the road again.
In the playoffs, he's literally played at Arrowhead. The only time he hasn't played at Arrowhead is in the Super Bowl. So, like,
wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, my son, man, we were just, we were watching some football, and he never seen, he's not up on game when it comes to all the behind the scenes of the NFL. So it was the first time ever he's seen anything that had to do with Kermit the Frog and Pat Mahomes, and he was just, he's seeing it all for the first time, and I'm showing him some stuff, and he's just roaring. I mean, he thought it was the funniest, but because he mentioned something about his voice, and I was like, "Oh, bro, you never seen, some of the stuff?" And oh man, we had a good time with that. I'm here. I had to throw that up in there.
Did y'all see the Taylor Swift thing where they're like going like this at the Chiefs game? They going back and forth like this. Oh my
Oh
goodness.
yeah, they vibe. And one thing I do want to say though, yeah, I don't even care about. I don't know. I think it's just so overblown. Either way, the people who don't like it, the people who do like it, it's kind of like when it comes to that kind of stuff, it's like I just pay no mind to it. Like kind of, I don't know, it doesn't bother me, and I don't hate it. I don't like it. It is what it is. Kelsey's a superstar. She's a superstar. They like each other. Of course, you're gonna show it. One thing I will say though is Kelce. Uh, Man, some guys, when they get toward the end of their career, some guys are able to kind of keep it going for a little bit, and then some guys, just take a swan dive. And man, he just looks slower than I ever seen him. He's dropping more balls than I ever seen it. Yeah, I think it's a wrap for Kelce. I wouldn't be surprised if he's got one more decent one in him, and that's it. Like I don't know
that boy Kelce, he's worn out, man.
how many
Go is your legs.
How many years? He's just he's lumbering.
I think he's like 34. I think 34, 35. So
hey, props to him though. He's a funny ass dude. He's hella cool and all that good stuff. But yeah, I think it's done. So the only difference in our picks is you guys is Amin and Jay pick the Chiefs. Me and Baller pick the Bills. Everything else is pretty much is what it is. It's getting late. We are about to dip up out of here. Is there anything that we have missed? Yeah, I think we touched on everything that we wanted to. Hey, props to everybody in the chat. Y'all know what it is. Every single Monday, we are going to be here. We're going to be here. Times vary anywhere between, typically it's after Monday Night Football throughout the year. So, if it's any time between 7:30 and 8:30, y'all know where to find us. Hit up everybody. Link is in my description at least to subscribe, all that good stuff. If you do, you do. You don't, you don't. Yeah, man. Hey, we coming to take it. Can't wait for freaking Saturday. It's always a pleasure, as y'all like to say, man, to chop it up with each other every Monday night. This was just hella cool as a fan to sit back and watch all this. Next week, it's go time. It's go time. I'm pretty sure, it's even if we do win, it probably won't be as many smiles or talking about it. There's not going to be so many games to talk about. So I think next week is going to just be a different breed. We will know if we're headed into we will know when or what day we'll be playing the NFC Championship game. I just got to speak it into existence. Y'all say your final thoughts. And yeah, like always, man, it's a pleasure. Real talk.
Appreciate everyone.
This is the year, fellas. I really feel it that the Niners are going to get that Super Bowl. But you got to take care of business. And next on the menu are the Cheeseheads. So let's take care of business, fellas. Talk next week.
Yay. Man, I want to pull the cheese grater out right now. But go ahead, Amin.
How about them Warriors? And then lastly, Niner game. Bang, I gotta mess with y'all Warriors fans. I know y'all grieving right now. So
it's good, man. Hey, all good things come to an end. Or come, yeah, I gotta handle it like a man, Hey, we got 4 chips.
You're not gonna be on top forever, man.
Nah. Hey, all dynasties die. Hopefully they can go out with class, and they ain't done yet, though. That's one thing.
What better way to go out than lose to the Lakers again in the playoffs? That's the class.
Hey, it seems like it's a wrap. It seems like, like, oh my God, like, how could you trade for Pacheco? But sometimes pans out in a different way when you least expect it. You know, I know it wasn't.
How can you not start Kuminga, bro? Like,
Yeah, Kerr. That's the most frustrating part. Kerr just feels like, I don't know why, but sometimes it feels like he's doing rookie moves in year
he's
whatever
no
it is.
Kyle though, Keltz. He's like, he doesn't trust the rookies. He does
Bruh.
not like.
They went and chopped it up for a minute. I don't think they were that big of friends, and for the last year or two, I think they really been, I don't know, just meeting up with each other, whether it's lunch, whatever. But I've joked to myself about that. Like, man, he took some of Kyle's negative mojo, and Kyle don't got it no more. It's like they kind of traded lightweight, but it is what it is. We ain't done yet. As long as you got, we still got the championship pedigree. It was an amazing ride, man. I never expected, for Curry to change the game of basketball, because everybody's shooting threes, and for us to get 4 chips with the, a shooting, Charles Barkley would always say, yeah, they ain't ever gonna win one, not a jump shooting team, and they did that, man. Hopefully Draymond can, I'll do a Warrior segment at some point. Hit it up, Jay.
Hey, appreciate everyone tuning in, of course, to the Straight Outta The Bay crew. We'll be back next Monday. And yeah, it's the Niners time. Niners got to take care of business. Looking forward to the games this weekend, man. Can't wait.
Real talk.
Y'all have a good night.
Peace to the mother. Oh, look at me. I'm lagging. Do the Bang Bang Niner gang again. I'm over here stalling. Where's my...
Bang Bang Niner gang.
There it is. All right, y'all. Peace.
Peace.
Straight out of the bay. Bang bang niner.
Hit it up, bro.
Bang Bang Niner.
Bang bang niner.
Bang Bang Niner gang.